Good morning to ya. Hey, welcome in on a Monday, January 29th. It is time for the morning wake up here on Steve Shetler Media. My name is Steve Shetler. And yeah, we start into a new week. Boy, it'll be February on Thursday. Can you believe that? Let's get a look at our forecast here on Steve Shetler Media. It's brought new spring merchandise arriving. They've got Valentine's Day coming up here in about, a little under 2.5 weeks. Get your orders in for Valentine's Day today. Dense fog advisory going until about 9 a.m. this morning. And widespread fog. Let's see here. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies are in store for us today. A high of 41, so the snow will continue to melt away. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 31. Could see winds picking up at about 25 miles per hour. Slight chance of some flurries tomorrow, maybe some sprinkles and flurries. Otherwise, cloudy tomorrow, 37 for the high. We'll have cloudy skies tomorrow night clearing off and a low of 26. Wednesday will be mostly sunny and a high of 42. Let's see here, looking at some of our current conditions here in southeast Iowa. We do have humidity at 96%, wind speeds south at about 5 miles per hour. The barometric pressure, 30.10 and 23 degrees. With some fog here in southeast Iowa. Again, a dense fog advisory until 9 a.m. this morning. Visibility could be a quarter mile or less with dense fog. That's for portions of east central, northeast, and southeast Iowa, along with northeast Missouri. Low visibility could make driving conditions hazardous, and temps could fall below freezing, which could make for some slick conditions. So be advised of that. If dry advisory going on this morning until 9 a.m. If you want to give me just a second, I got to update a couple of things so you guys will know what's happening on my little ticker at the bottom of the screen. Getting things updated here on Steve Shetler Media. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with me on this Monday morning. Again, just a little bit foggy this morning. And your weather brought to us by our good friends at the Garden Gate in Sigourney. They always bring us our forecast, and you can find them on the square in Sigourney at 105 South Jefferson. Call Cindy at 641-622-3191. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Saturdays, 9 to noon. The Garden Gate in Sigourney bringing us our forecast. Later on today, we will have our question of the day that goes up right around noon. Question for today are, what are your predictions going to be for the Super Bowl? Will you be going for the Chiefs or the 49ers? Or who do you think is going to win? Maybe not really. I don't know. It kind of includes all that stuff. What do you think is going to happen during the Super Bowl? Predictions for the Super Bowl. You got the Chiefs. You got the 49ers. Our question of the day brought to us by Amy's Salon House and Spa. They're located at 202 North Main in Sigourney. They've got the hair and spa services, extensions, products, tanning. Call or text for an appointment. That question of the day goes up a little bit later on today, right around noon. Hey, also coming up later on this week here on Steve Shetler Media, we will have our Iowa Music Showcase. It'll be Royce Johns, live and in person at Barnwired in Sigourney. That'll be this Friday from 11:30 to noon. Royce is a character. He's got a very kind of a dry sense of humor, and he is straight up country music, folks. So he'll be bringing his acoustic guitar. We'll be talking. I've known Royce for a few years now. He'll be a fun interview, good interview, great music. If you like country music, that'll be live and in person at Barnwired in Sigourney coming up on Friday from 11:30 to noon. Catch it live and in person, or catch it live right here on Steve Shetler Media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Hey, congratulations, Alan Sellers. He is my number one fan, and there's proof. Our weekly top 20 came out yesterday, as that's going to be a new feature on Sundays here on Steve Shetler Media. We're going to be, kind of saluting our top fans for Steve Shuttler Media. As far as people who like, comment, and share here on Steve Shuttler Media, that is what engagement is on social media. So it's the weekly top 20 for the most engaged followers here on Steve Shuttler Media. You can see your top 20 there in the two different lists. You got number 1 through 10 and 11 through 20. And Alan Sellers, of course, he is the co-host of the sports section on Saturday mornings here on Steve Shuttler Media, and he is my number one stalker. I mean, my number one fan. When we announced this last week that I was going to be doing a top 20 and kind of, saluting the number one fan, there were a handful of people, and you can kind of see who those people are and were at the top of the list there, the top 10, including my wife, Stacy. Stacy went on a liking spree last week on Steve Shuttler Media, as did Bruce Hahn, as did Kathy Rosaboom and Alan Sellers. I think what did it for Alan was he was sharing as well. He was not only liking, but he was sharing things like a maniac. So Alan Sellers, he is the number one guy here on Steve Shuttler Media. Congratulations to Alan. Yeah, you don't win anything other than appreciation. I appreciate you, Alan. And I'll give you a big hug the next time I see you. Alan Sellers, our number one most engaged fan here on Steve Shuttler Media. Hopefully you tuned in on Friday for Keota Eagles basketball. We had the Keota at Tri-County game. And there were some technical issues. There's no getting around it, man. It was a interesting broadcast, but we did get the full varsity game uploaded after the fact. Basically, whatever could go wrong from a technical standpoint on Friday night did, but we did survive, and you can see that the Keota at Tri-County game right here on Steve Shuttler Media. If you scroll back to Friday night and check that out. Thank Eddie Conrad and Andy McGuire for being my announcers. We've got one game left for the Keota basketball schedule here on Steve. Be coming up on Tuesday, February 6th. That'll be update for Sigourney at Keota. That'll be a girls-boys doubleheader coming up on Sigourney at Keota. And then we'll be getting into the postseason. You need hook, and I sold some of those on Friday at the Iowa Music Showcase at steveshuttlermedia at gmail.com. They're a nice-looking t-shirt. Size 4 with your Steve Shuttler t-shirt for $20. Hey, a good morning to you once again. It's 10 after 7 on your Monday. I tell you what, before we went on the air this morning live, of course, we had our Rural Strong Media Ag Report and Living the Country Life just a little while ago. I was also, I'm going to have to make some tough decisions. The girls' state tournament coming up. You've got I apologize if I leave anybody off the list this week, but man, it's tough. When you got County Chamber and Development Group will be taking place in Oskaloosa. My wife and I will be attending that, so we'll be having fun there in Oskaloosa. If you see me, come up and say hi. And looking forward to spending some time in Oskaloosa coming up later on, late this afternoon into this evening. Okay, let's go ahead and do some birthdays. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And you and you and you. All right, birthdays for today. The guy with the mustache, the classic mustache, Tom Selleck, having a birthday today. Of course, he is Magnum P.I. and Blue Bloods? Is that how you say that? Blue Bloods. I never really watched Blue Bloods, but I saw Tom Selleck and his mustache back in the day on Magnum P.I. 79 years old for Tom. So happy birthday to Tom Selleck. Let's see here. Oprah Winfrey. You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. I'm sure Oprah is going to buy herself a car or 10 today. Oprah Winfrey turning 70 years old today. Erlene Mandrell of the Mandrell sisters, and from Hee Haw, too. 68 years old for Erlene. She was kind of the airhead of the three, wasn't she? Or at least she played that part. Let's see here. Former Olympian Greg Louganis, I kind of forget how to say his name. He is 64, a great diver and swimmer. Baseball player Steve Sachs is 64. Actor Nicholas Turturro. He's also from Blue Blood. Former football player Andre Reed of the Buffalo Bills from back in their day in the 90s when they went to all those Super Bowls. He's 60 years old. Basketball player Stacey King is 57. Got actress Heather Graham turning 54. Actress Sarah Gilbert from Roseanne, 49. Singer-guitarist Johnny Lang is 43. And singer Adam Lambert is 42. Some of your birthdays for today. By the way, good morning to you, Tamra, Barb. Let's see here. We got Sandy. We got Kurt and Kathy hanging out. Good morning to everybody on this Monday on the Morning Wake Up. On this date in history, it was on this day, on January 29th, back in 1845, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, published in the New York Evening Mirror. Date in 18s is what it is now. Carl Benz patented the very first successful gas engine car, which was three-wheeled at the time, hitting a top speed of 10 miles per hour. All right, for that. Today is, according to the National Day calendar, it's National Bubble Wrap Day. Anybody else like to pop the bubbles on the bubble wrap? It's Bubble Wrap Day. It's National Corn Chip Day. Going to come back as a quarterback, like a back. Kaepernick comes back with the Chargers along with Jim Harbaugh. Wouldn't that be something? Artificial intelligence in the news. The estate of the late, I'm assuming it's still up. Maybe they had to take it down. I don't know. But George Carlin AI on YouTube. They're getting sued. Justin Timberlake announcing a new world tour. His first in 5 years kicks off at the end of April in Canada, and then will be coming to the U.S., cities like Seattle, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Chicago, and New York. It's a 22-city tour for Justin Timberlake. If you like The Wizard of Oz, I guess you can see it in theaters here. Moving on, things you need to know. Police in Kansas searching for some thieves who stole a bronze statue of Jackie Robinson from a Little League field. Bronze statue of Jackie Robinson. That had to be heavy. Let's see here. A little bit of a spark of all. 2023 sales were 4% above 2022, despite the high interest rates. By the way, mortgage rates actually went up a little bit, and a 30-year fixed rate now stands at 6.69%. We were talking about Carl Benz earlier. How about Mercedes? Mercedes announcing plans for a new luxury tower in Dubai, where apartments will start at $2.7 million and go as high as $10 million. Like, is that a month? Is that rent? Or are you buying it, like, for good? If it's an apartment, I'm assuming it's rent. That's bonkers. Good morning to you, Tracy Allen. Hey, it's my number one fan. My number one stalker, Alan Sellers. Let's see. Good morning to you, Amber. Good morning to everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out this morning here on the Morning Wake Up. It is time for today's Impossible question. Today's impossible question. All right. Think about this one. Only 19% of kids do this on a daily basis. What do you think that is? It's today's impossible question. Only 19%. So basically, what is that? 1 in 5, 2 out of 10 kids do this on a daily basis. And I used to do this probably every day as a kid. I would need some Nestle Quick. It's drinking milk. Really? Only 1 out of 5 kids are doing this on a daily basis, drinking milk? That's weird. Speaking of which,
that is weird.
In some weird news, let's get to the weird this morning. The Lower Sioux Tribe in Minnesota are building a 20,000-foot square manufacturing campus. It's going to allow them to pioneer a green experiment. They're going green. It's the first of its kind in the U.S. They'll have an integrated vertical operation to grow hemp past the peace pipe, process it into insulation called hempcrete, kind of like concrete, except interesting. Again, that is going on in Minnesota. Hempcrete. Mix that stuff up. Just don't smoke it. Let's see here. Viagra is in the news. Let's see here. A woman accused of spiking her colleague's coffee with Viagra. Karen Beal. Yes, her name is Karen. She is a Karen. Karen Beal, 62, was arrested in September of 2018 after she was secretly recorded using Nescafe at a factory. 5 years to stand trial due to delays attributed. An accountant complained about a weird taste and blue and white specks in the coffee before setting up a hidden camera, which recorded Beal looking inside a jar of coffee and shaking it. Police later found 2 jars of coffee contained the erectile dysfunction and high cholesterol medication sold as Viagra. Over a 3-day trial, prosecutors claimed the video showed clear evidence of tampering, but Beal said a general manager told her to inspect the coffee, which was all that she was doing. So, Viagra coffee. Maybe that'll be a new thing that comes out of this. Let's see here. California. Homeless people, California, were found living in caves along the Tuolumne River. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Before they were cleared out by the Modesto Police Department and volunteers over the weekend. Volunteers with the operation worked with police to clear them from the area. 7,600 street level. Some were fully furnished, indicating that vagrants had been living there for some time. So, quite the homeless duplex in the caves out in California. Let's see. People are of pictures and selfies. I did get a picture over the weekend with the elephant here in Sigourney. The snow elephant, that is. You know where the old library is here in Sigourney. Kind of if you're on that stretch towards the hall here in Sigourney. The snow elephant that was made by the lady that lives at the... I got a picture week. I'm sure they're going to do all they can to keep it going, but it'll be tough. Anyway, some people did it. Commentators were stunned by the father's careless behavior and had zero issues calling him out. Now, use common sense. Especially if you want to get a picture with a wild animal, like a wild mountain across the U.S., are set for a once-in-a-lifetime experience this spring. A lot of people probably would prefer that they don't have to go through it. This year, 16 states across parts of the South and Midwest will see the emergence of 2 different cicada groups in tandem, a crossover that hasn't happened in 200, popping up like crazy, with different groups that have been lying dormant for 13 to 17 years. They are going to emerge times, quickly mating, laying millions of eggs, and then dying within a roughly 5-week period. So, it was released back in 2011 as a farewell after he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Featured the work of some younger artists at the time, like Jacob Dylan and Paul Westerberg. Now, Ghost on the Canvas was an artistic success. That was the name of the album. And that placed 88th on Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest albums of all time. Now, more than 13 years later, artists are bringing their contributions to the project. A duet version of the album has been produced that will pair Glenn Campbell's original vocals with new ones by stars including Dolly Parton, because why not? Dolly is everywhere, doing everything. Also, Carole King and Eric Clapton will be part of this. Let's see, your other sessions include Brian Wilson, Brian Setzer, Daryl Hall, Dave Stewart, Look for that project coming out. I'm not sure when. They don't have a date. But again, Glenn Campbell's final studio album going to be redone as duets. So look out for that. We were talking about a statue of Jackie Robinson being stolen earlier. How about a statue in Louisville, Kentucky that went missing from Louisville nearly 30 years ago and has actually been returned to the city by a man who had it in his backyard? David Greer said his father worked on a renovation project in 1996, and he says, quote, "Dad said they tossed it to the side, and he asked if he could have it, and they said sure. And that's where it began its life at our house." So that missing statue, after 30 years in Louisville, has been recovered in kind of an interesting manner. Let's see here. That was some weird news. How about this news as far as names of babies goes? By the way, I got to catch up on some good mornings. Good morning to you, Shauna. Let's see here. Steve, got Jan and Jan back to back, and my Aunt Rachel. Good morning, Rachel. Glad to see everybody hanging out this morning here on the Morning Wake Up. So some names that you might consider to be old lady names are becoming popular again. So this is a list that says are 20 old lady names to consider for your baby daughter. We'll give you let's do the top 10. And we'll start with number 1 and go down to 10. Number 1 old lady name that could become popular again is Violet. Then you've got Agatha, Ida, Maud, Lottie, Edith, and Ophelia. So that I'm not calling them old lady names. Just want to put that out. The Huff Post did a list of things you should clean that you... I don't have anything that holds my tooth. My electric toothbrush just sits on its own. Other things you might want to clean: the bottom of throw rugs, the top of large appliances. Yeah, I can see how the top of your fridge is probably filthy. Let's see here. Ceiling fans, toilet roll holders. Why would you clean your toilet? Let's go to the files of law and disorder. Across America have started closing... Okay.